Thank you for tuning in to TalkWad.com, the world's fastest growing internet radio network. Please check out all the other great shows on www.talkwad.com.
What if your customers are trying to find your business online, but instead of finding you, they find your competitors? Now, more than ever, it's time to make sure you have the right SEO to make your business stand out online. Welcome to Go Mind Your Business with Terry Bork, presented by Extreme Marketing Concepts, putting your business in front of the hungry herd of buyers who are looking for you right now. Extreme Marketing Concepts, helping you drive more traffic, dominate the market, and crush your competition. And now, here's Terry.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Go Mind Your Business. My name is Terry Bork with Extreme Marketing Concepts. Today, our show is brought to you by Extreme Marketing Concepts, and we're here at Go Mind Your Business, part of the All Your Business radio station down here at the TalkWad Network. You can find more shows on the TalkWad Network by visiting talkwad.com. We have a really neat show for you today. My very special guest is Grace Armstrong with Nonprofit Leadership Center. Grace, welcome to our program today.
Well, thank you. I'm happy to be here.
I know you have an amazing center, so I'm so excited to share it with our listeners today. Let me tell our listeners a little bit about your organization, if I can. Grace, again, is with the Not-for-Profit Leadership Center down on West Shore. She has been an executive director in the nonprofit sector for over 25 years. And after obtaining a BA degree in education from the University of South Florida, Grace worked with the Florida State Department of Children and Families as a child abuse investigator and supervisor, and later as the manager of a program service contracts with various non-for-profit organizations. Prior to joining the Nonprofit Leadership Center of Tampa Bay, Grace was the executive director for two nonprofit organizations. During her tenure, she more than doubled the size of both organizations, expanded the boards, raised money for and built two large buildings, and increased the financial viability and sustainability of those agencies. Grace is a graduate of the Eckerd Leadership Development Program, the Charitable Giving Institute, and the Easter Seals Academy for Advancement. And Grace holds a certificate for nonprofit board education from Board Source. Grace's passion and expertise is in mentoring, coaching, and educating staff, volunteers, and board members to help them and their organizations fulfill their personal and organizational missions with excellence. As the CEO of the Nonprofit Leadership Center in Tampa Bay, she is delighted to work in this capacity and utilize her skills and experience on behalf of the nonprofit community. Well, Grace, that's amazing, and welcome again to our program.
Thank you.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit, how come you picked a nonprofit area to get involved with?
Because I always wanted to help people. That sounds very trite. It's what you hear all over, but it's the absolute truth. From the very beginning, when I was in high school, I was always driven to social work type of programs, and it was always about how can I improve one person's happiness. And the nonprofit sector allows me to do that every single day in a big way and in a little way, because it's always about how you touch each individual person at any given moment.
Sure.
But in my job at the Nonprofit Leadership Center, I also get to touch the world in a big way.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, the nonprofit sector is huge, and I don't think a lot of people understand really what nonprofit means. And maybe you can share that with us as we're talking today.
Yeah, I'm happy to. I'm in fact delighted to,
Okay.
Because I'm hoping that your listeners aren't saying, "Oh, this is about nonprofits. I'm not so interested." Because listeners, I think you really will be interested.
Oh, yeah.
It's a whole world that is not unlike your world. Nonprofits are businesses. The only difference between a not-for-profit business and a for-profit business is that nonprofits reinvest any profit back into delivering the services to the people that they are dedicated to serve. I wanted to share the numbers of nonprofits in our community. And we call the Tampa Bay area Pasco, Hernando, Pinellas, Hillsborough, and Polk. Now, other people might include Sarasota and Manatee. We don't. Okay. But in those 5 counties, there are 8,676 not-for-profit organizations. So if you extrapolate that out into what that means for economic viability, those are businesses that are hiring people, right, that are buying things from your listeners, and that are making our community a better place. So that's one message I want to give, is that there are a lot of us, and that we make a big difference in the economic viability of our community. In fact, just taking Hillsborough and Pinellas as an example, we are over 10% of the labor force in Hillsborough and Pinellas counties.
Wow. So that's a big chunk.
It's a big
workers.
chunk.
Yeah.
And I'll bet if you really think about it, many listeners might say, well, I'm not involved in any nonprofit, but think about how you might actually be. If you have a membership at the Y, then the Y is a nonprofit, and it's touching your life, hopefully every day, because you're there working out. If you go to church, that's a nonprofit as well. If you take first aid classes from the Red Cross, that's a nonprofit as well. So our lives are touched by nonprofits in more ways than we realize. I also want to back up a little bit and talk about why the nonprofit sector exists to begin with.
Yes, let's do that.
Because we all know that nonprofits are tax exempt.
Yes.
And the reason that we're tax exempt is we were created to do the kinds of things that government won't or can't do. Okay. And so the tax exemption is so that we have a little bit more ability to do our work. Because, of course, money is an issue, but in not having to pay taxes, the government, the IRS, is telling us that you do the work that we can't do. Okay. And so that's why we exist as tax-exempt organizations. Okay. And what that further means is that is in order to be accountable to the community and to the government, we have boards of directors. That's part of the requirement when you set up a nonprofit. Okay. And the board is the accountable party to the government. Okay. Okay. So oftentimes when you join a board, you don't realize the responsibility that you're taking on being with a nonprofit. But the board is the steward of the public trust. Okay. So kind
of works hand in hand there.
That's right. And so oftentimes people create nonprofits because they have a heart for it, but the government allows us to exist in order to do work that government doesn't want to do, which is a good thing, because then we would be paying a lot of taxes to cover the kind of works that nonprofits do every day.
Oh, okay. I got that. And lots of organizations, I think, that we don't even think about are not a non-for-profit, or you can create a non-for-profit. Is that correct?
Well, you can create a nonprofit, but one of our messages is don't do it.
Okay.
Because there are already, as I said, in this area, 8,600 nonprofits. Oh, my goodness. It is likely that one of those nonprofits is already doing that which is in your heart to do. Oh, okay. So our advice is always to check out who else might be doing the work that you want to do. Okay. Or who can you partner with to do the work that you want to do, rather than spend the money and the time and the effort to create a whole new entity. Find a partner. Okay. Get yourself associated with someone who's already up and running, and you can be much more effective, much more quickly. Now, there are going to be people out there with grand ideas that no one else has thought of, and then maybe that's the entity that should start a new nonprofit. Oh, I got that. So if it's a brand new idea, or if you're maybe a family who has a lot of money and wants to start a family foundation in honor of a cause or a person, that's another good reason to start a nonprofit. But if you wake up on Monday morning and say, I want to change the world and distribute grocery bags to those in need, there's somebody doing that already in some capacity. So for the greater good, we would advise you to check it out and see who else is doing what your heart tells you should do.
I got that. Okay. Well, that's awesome advice for folks. So, can you tell us about some of the challenges that nonprofits face day to day?
I'll bet everybody listening could answer the first challenge because it's not uncommon that all of us have money as a challenge. In 2008, 2009, when the stock market and the economy had its biggest challenges, nonprofits were affected tremendously because those of us that are funded through foundations or grant makers that rely on the stock market, their investments went way down, so their investment in the nonprofit sector went down. We all lost money from entities that we have counted on for years. Everybody pulled back. As an example, just a simple example, our own organization, the Nonprofit Leadership Center, we lost 25% of our revenue, which means our funding. We're a small organization, so that was a big hit. The wonderful thing about us and many similar nonprofits is that with good management, good leadership, and good planning, we're still here and bigger and better than we were back then. But money is, and always will be, the biggest challenge facing nonprofits. Secondarily, and again, not unlike the businesses that your listeners have, leadership is another challenge. Finding the right people to lead our organizations is challenging because of the length of time that a lot of our nonprofit leaders have been in the job. It's time for some people to retire.
Got it.
And there's a lot of retirement happening in the nonprofit sector, and not enough people prepared to take on the leadership roles that are held by the existing leaders, which is one of the jobs of the Nonprofit Leadership Center, is to prepare leaders to take on that role in a nonprofit. So money, leadership, competition is another big challenge for nonprofits. As I said, there's 8,600 nonprofits just in our area. We all rely on the community for support. So there's a lot of competition. Now there are hybrid companies becoming more popular, the L3Cs that are part nonprofit, part for-profit. They're not in Florida yet, but they're likely to be. And so people can donate to an L3C instead of a 501c3, all those numbers. One is a hybrid, one is a full nonprofit. So the point is, though, that we're competing for limited dollars, which goes back to money. But competition is a different thing because for-profit companies have always dealt with competition and always tried to stand out above all others, just like your company, Terry, helps businesses stand out. Nonprofits aren't so used to doing that. So our challenge is to learn how to market and how to use social media in the right way so that our stories can be listened to and acted upon.
Got that. Okay. Awesome. That's terrific. If you're just joining us now, we're speaking with Grace Armstrong with the Nonprofit Leadership Center. You can visit her website to learn more about this amazing organization by going to www.nonprofitleadershipcenter.com. Or you can call the office directly and speak with one of the ladies there at 813-287-8779. They're very knowledgeable. They'll be able to answer your questions whether you are a non-for-profit or a profit business, and you can take advantage of some of their training and more things that we're going to be discussing as we move forward. Okay, so how can you help nonprofits address their challenges?
Well, that's why we exist.
Okay, so
Our mission is to teach nonprofits the skills they need to run their businesses, which implies that it is to thrive in your business.
okay,
And just to remember that the reason we want nonprofits to thrive is because the better they run their businesses, the more they can help the community.
okay,
So it's all about the greater good. It's not about the nonprofit itself.
Okay.
It's about the clients that the nonprofits are designed to serve.
okay,
Okay, so our clients are the nonprofits. So we change the world and help the community by helping each nonprofit to do a better job. How do we do it? It's through classes. Education is everything.
Right.
Not everybody understands that, but it is clear in our lives. We send our children to school. We talk about college education as being important to our ability to earn money later. It's no different in the nonprofit sector. We teach the skills to run businesses because many, if not most of us in the nonprofit sector, didn't start out with the intention of running a business,
Sure.
didn't have anybody teaching us how to run a business. We are teachers, social workers, people with great intentions and not necessarily MBAs.
sure, okay,
And so we teach those skills that the people who are, in fact, in the position of running a nonprofit, we teach them in a class with experts how to run businesses. So we teach how to do a financial statement, how to create a whole financial system, how to read a balance sheet, how to govern a nonprofit from the board of directors perspective,
Okay.
how to manage people.
okay,
Anything that a business person would need to know to run a business, we teach.
okay,
And a lot of our work does not apply solely to nonprofits, because I
Right.
know a lot of your listeners are for-profit businesses. And there's a lot that we can do to help for-profit businesses through the classes that we offer. So it is worthwhile for your listeners to check out our website
yeah.
because there's things there that they might be interested in learning.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. So I know there's a variety of courses and descriptions out on the back side. And again, you cater to nonprofits, but you also educate regular business owners, for-profit business owners as well.
That's right. And also, for-profit business owners are our board members. That's who serve on nonprofit boards. So the nonprofit sector and the for-profit sector are really partners.
Right.
They're together.
Okay.
The other thing that I know you're very familiar with is that people in small businesses sell things and services to the nonprofit sector. So
Right.
we really encourage the bringing together of the two groups so that the nonprofits might be able to learn of what businesses have to offer and buy from them.
You got that.
Because we all need copy machines and marketing services and accounting services and printing. We need all the things that your listeners have to offer.
Okay, well, it's great, and it's great that there's a nice symbiotic relationship there. So, lots of stuff to discover, lots of relationships, I'm sure, form. When folks are just learning.
Correct. It is, as you know, all about relationships.
Yep. Oh, it is. It's all about that. So, now for folks, and this can be confusing for folks. How does someone choose a non-for-profit to donate to or volunteer for?
Well, that's a great question, and sometimes people do it because somebody asked them to, and they don't know anything about the nonprofit at all. Our advice is, first of all, find your heart.
Okay.
Where does your heart lean towards? What makes you tender? Is it children? Is it older adults? Is it the hungry? Is it the homeless? So think in that regard first. And then ask your friends, who do you support? Who are you involved with? And then when you've isolated where your heart is and maybe where other people are supporting either by time or talent or treasure,
Right.
then maybe you can pick one or two nonprofits whose name now is known to you and start reading about them
Right.
and call them. many people say that the best way to identify the nonprofit to choose is by looking at their tax return, the 990, and finding out what percent of their funding goes to programs versus administration. If no one hears anything but this, let me tell you that that is the wrong and the least best way to identify a good nonprofit. It's probably too complicated for this interview to go into the why of it, but great nonprofits often have a little bit higher administrative cost. That's because they're smart. It's because they know they need what I call capacity capital to do business. If you don't have the right computer system, if you don't have the right finance director, if you don't have the right building, all of which are administrative costs, how can you do right by your clients? You need a structure and a foundation in order to serve the mission. So when people tend to make judgments about nonprofits based on administrative cost, it is an erroneous judgment. It needs to be, the judgment needs to be made by what impact is this nonprofit making in the community? Do they have the resources to do, to make the changes in this community that they intend to make? Are they solving some people's problems? Are they finding homes for the homeless? And are they feeding the hungry in such a way that their lives are being changed? And those are the kinds of questions that people need to ask. So to look at just a piece of paper and say, oh, too much money going to administration, or, oh, they're paying their CEO too much, is misguided. We need to pay our nonprofit staff more. You know, we as a country pay more for people who do bad things than we pay for people who are trying to cure disease and change the world in a positive way. That's a misguided approach that, you know, one lone voice like mine isn't going to make a change, but I love the ability to talk to people who might listen and say, we need to look at the decisions we make and how we approach the nonprofit sector in a different way.
Okay, I got that. Excellent, excellent. Thank you for sharing. You know, I didn't know about really nonprofits until my children were looking for volunteer hours, and that's how, once we started exploring that area, all these things that we didn't even know existed came available to us, so we were able to look to see, oh, well, what this is about, what's that about?
Well, let me add something when you mention your children. The way that everybody can help change the world in your own little small way is to teach your children philanthropy. That means teach your children to volunteer, teach your children to give some of their money, whether it's from an allowance or something they earned from mowing the grass, to give a little piece of what they have as their own money to somebody else, to a charity, to church, to somebody that needs it. Because as we teach our children from a very early age, and I'm talking 3 and 4 years old, to give to others, to be charitable, to be philanthropic, they will grow up with that habit. You know, parents have a lot of influence on their children, and if we can influence their philanthropic habits early in life, our world will be better later on, past our own lifetimes, because then they will have the habit of philanthropy as adults, and they will contribute to the world, because the world is changing. We're losing a lot of our donors as baby boomers age out and eventually die. We need a new generation of donors.
Absolutely. Okay, great. Oh, that's a great tip. Thank you for bringing that up. I think when we come back, we're going to take a commercial in just a second, but I think I want to talk a little bit once we come back about your program and how you can help, what kind of courses and things that you offer. If you're just joining us, we're speaking with Grace Armstrong from the Nonprofit Leadership Center. If you have questions on how they can help you, give them a call at 813-287-8779. They're happy to answer any question that you have. We'll be right back in just a second. We're going to hear from our sponsor, Extreme Marketing Concepts, right now. Okay. And welcome back to Go Mind Your Business here at the All Your Business radio station, part of the Talk WAD Network. Check out some of the other programs at the Talk WAD Network by visiting us online at www.talkwad.com. You know, one of the problems that many businesses have is their reputation and getting it out there. Some businesses have a terrible reputation and everybody knows about it, and other businesses have a really great reputation and no one knows about it. So getting the exposure that you need for your business is extremely important. So you can give Extreme Marketing Concepts a call at 813-863-1452 and see how you can get the better exposure for your business. They're happy to help answer any questions that you have. Again, we're speaking with Grace Armstrong from the Nonprofit Leadership Center located on West Shore in Tampa. They have a very neat website. It's full of tremendous resources for you. You can go visit it at www.nonprofitleadershipcenter.com. So Grace, I'm sorry, Grace is my guest today, and we welcome you back to our program as well. I really want to start chatting a little bit about some of the programs that you offer at the center, who's eligible to be taking some of the courses that you have. So let's kind of start with some of the programs that you do offer.
Okay, well, we can't tell you about all of them because there are so many. So I don't mean to be repetitive, but going to our website and looking under training will tell you the wealth of training that we are offering. But right now, I'm particularly in love with our LinkedIn training. As your commercial just said, telling the world about your business is important, and LinkedIn is one of the social media outlets that we know is very effective professionally. And so we are teaching a fabulous class. I know it's fabulous because I attended it myself the last time it was held, and it's being held again on March 6th. It's a 3-hour program for $39.
Wow, great.
It's I know there are a lot of free social media trainings out there, but this is such high quality that it's well worth the $39. And it is for everybody, not just for nonprofits. I personally plan to attend it again because you can't learn everything in one sitting.
And and I'm sorry to interrupt, but the one thing about anything social media is that the internet changes every single day.
Correct.
So you can't know everything all the time. You know, as somebody who works in that space, we're constantly educating ourselves so that we can bring you what's top of the line and what's current today, because what's current today is not going to be current tomorrow.
Right. Well, one of the things I learned in this class, which is just a little hint of a tip for your listeners, is that there's a group for LinkedIn participants who have 500 or more followers. And it gives you a lot of access to local businesses and access to people whom you might want to do business with. I had no idea that there was a little exclusive group for people with that many followers, but it's an incentive to get more followers. But we'll teach more about that particular awesome tip that day. Another program that might appeal to your listeners is our Positive Leadership, Increasing Success in Your Workplace.
Ooh, that sounds neat. What's that about?
Well, it's all about growing your own talent to lead others, understanding the behavior of others and understanding your own behavior and how they work together to engage your customers and your employees and move your business forward. Now, that's something that we can all use because we are all businesses. And that's going to be on March 14th. And that's also a 9 to 12 program, and it is also $39.
So you're bringing these programs that are so rich in educational material for a price that folks can afford and learn.
Yes, and I do want to say, how is it that we can do these programs for such a little amount of money? It's because we as a nonprofit have funding sources who give us money so that we can develop these programs, put them on, and offer them at an affordable price. And our funding sources are places that you've heard of and some that you haven't, but the United Way of Tampa Bay, actually the United Way of the Suncoast now because they've expanded, and the Conn Memorial Foundation, Allegheny Franciscan Ministries, and our key partners, which are businesses in the community, who, such as Extreme Marketing Concepts, who believe in what we do and like the idea of partnering with the nonprofit sector to make our community a better place. So, not to get away from our programs, but I wanted the listeners to understand that we're affordable not because our quality is poor, but because we have great partners in the community who want us to deliver these educational opportunities to our community.
Sure. Okay, that's awesome. Now, you also have a conference that's coming up toward the end of March, right?
Yes, our conference is a great opportunity for business owners to learn something and to network with nonprofit organizations. The conference is on April 26th. It's at a la carte event pavilion, where there are a lot of events.
Yes.
This one is a little more pricey, but not beyond the means of most people. It's $75. And we want to keep it simple. It's a half day on a Friday, starting with lunch. So it's going to be a great lunch. Lunch and networking. That's how you get to know other people in the community. Then we have 2 speakers, with the topics being lead yourself and wow others.
Okay.
So it's about learning your own leadership styles in the current world, how not to be average, how to be awesome. And our second speaker will talk about customer and employee engagement and providing red carpet service. So see, all of this doesn't sound so nonprofit-like, does it?
It sounds like regular business getting done.
These 2 speakers are fabulous. They're engaging. They will keep your attention and give you powerful skills. Plus, the first speaker, John Acuff, has a new book, and every attendee is going to get a copy of his new book. The second speaker is Donna Cutting. She's about employee and customer engagement and red carpet service. So the conference is open for registration on our website. And we, of course, are always looking for sponsors. And our sponsors get an extra opportunity to provide their information to the nonprofits that are attending. And to have a table all their own to invite key people, a table for 10, distribute materials, have a sign at their table, be on our website, be on the printed materials. It's a great marketing, advertising opportunity for any business who wants to be in front of the nonprofit sector. Who attends this conference? We would say it's about 60% nonprofit staff and high executives, and 40% corporate for-profit business people who are either on the boards of these nonprofits or are part of our sponsors. Our lead sponsor, presenting sponsor, is Bank of America.
Okay.
And we have several Goodwill sponsors, and there's going to be lots of goodies. So hopefully some of your listeners will be enticed to attend.
Yeah. Oh, I think it's going to be fabulous. So good luck with that event.
Thank you. We expect about 400 people, just as an example of what the size of the audience might be.
Okay. Oh, wow. That's fabulous. And so for folks who really want to learn about what kind of programs you're offering, they're all just listed with they're kind of like on the website with what the course entails, how long it's
Yeah,
going to
we'll
be.
tell you a lot about it on the website. They're listed either by date, what's coming in what order, or by topic area. So, for instance, we concentrate a lot on board governance. Sounds boring to some people, but it is so very exciting because it's really the life of a nonprofit. As I said earlier in the show, it's the board who is accountable to the public for the success or failure of a nonprofit's work. So our governance programs teach board members how to do their work with excellence. We find that a lot of board members don't know what they don't know, just like the rest of us. We don't know what we don't know, but speaking just about board members, they are honored to serve on a board, and they think that by bringing their business acumen to the table, that's all that's necessary. But there are a lot of particular things that are important to running a nonprofit and governing a nonprofit. So we teach all of that, and we hope that anybody who is listening, who serves on a board, that they would be smart enough and enlightened enough to look on our website and maybe attend a course or two on governance.
Okay.
And we teach finance, and we teach marketing and fundraising. Oh, we teach a lot about fundraising because fundraising is the one way that nonprofits can increase their revenue.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you about that. Okay, so you're actually letting them know how they can go out into the community and generate dollars for their organization.
Right. We're many of us are not natural askers.
Sure.
And fundraising is not about just taking your money. It's about helping you fall in love with the cause. Because when you love the cause, then it's so easy to say, here are my hard-earned dollars, and I want to give them to you to do good work. And so fundraising is about telling the story, about building a relationship, and, about helping people fall in love with the cause that you're representing.
Okay.
And understanding that not everybody's going to fall in love with your cause, but there are so many causes out there that are so worthy.
Yeah. I know that one of the areas on your website talks specifically about jobs for folks who might be looking for a job or folks that are posting a job. Now, can you tell us who can utilize that information? Can just the community look for other nonprofits that are having a job? Who can
Absolutely.
post
Our job board is newly launched, so I think it's a week old. So it's being populated as we speak. But it's something that the nonprofit community has wanted for a long time. One central place for nonprofits to post a job. So it is for the nonprofit community to post jobs in nonprofits. But anybody that is looking for a job in the nonprofit sector, that is the place to look on our website. It's fully self-service. There is no fee. So you post your own job. You have to follow our instructions to get the results that you want, but it's totally self-service, time limited. So you have to, you get 30 days, I believe, and then if you want to re-up it, you can. So you're in charge.
Oh, that's fabulous. What a great way that businesses can even share with their community what they're looking for, what the right person is. So that
we're so happy to be able to do that. The next big thing we have coming on our website eventually is a board bank, because a lot of people are looking to serve on a board, and a lot of nonprofits are looking for board members.
Right.
So we're hoping to have a, again, self-service matching opportunity on our website for board members to be and nonprofits.
Okay, great. Now, your center, it's on West Shore. Can you tell our listeners, is that where they're going to go to take their classes?
That's where, unless it's an exception, for instance, the conference, which is at a la carte. Yes, we're at 1401 North West Shore Boulevard. We are so perfectly located.
Oh, you are?
We are, because we're just off Interstate 275, very close to the airport, between two malls.
Right. You can't go wrong there.
We have great parking and very easy to get to from Pinellas County, from Hillsborough County. We have people coming from Hardy and Highlands counties and Polk and Pasco. It's not central to everybody, but it's pretty central.
Yeah, so you can fly right in. And, and I've been inside, and the classroom is beautiful in the way that it's structured, and it's a nice, comfortable space.
Right. It's not huge because education takes place better in a more intimate setting. So we can have probably a maximum of 30 people.
And that's a good size.
It's a good size.
A regular size classroom to me.
But what our goal is to have a lot of interaction. Education often happens best amongst the participants.
Sure.
The instructor is there to give content, but how you really learn is from each other. How you talk about the content you're listening to and how you can apply it to yourself and listening to other people's experiences. It's the relationships and the interaction between and among the students that is the most thrilling and actually most effective way to learn.
Okay. Oh, that's great. That's great, and I know that you have ladies that are there. I haven't seen any gentlemen, so if I'm bad, I'm very sorry at this point in time.
Yes, it was interesting. I heard you refer to the ladies will answer your questions, but you're right. We are a staff of all women. Not that we want to be stereotyped, because often there are more women employed by the nonprofit sector than men. It just is a fact, and so we are an example of that. Right. But we have had men employed at our company. Right now, we don't.
Okay, good. Because I don't want to, miss somebody.
No.
From the organization, if that would be just terrible for me.
Well, thank you for being so thoughtful.
Yeah. Yo. Okay, great. So again, we've been speaking with Grace Armstrong from the Nonprofit Leadership Center, and you can visit the website yourself and check out all the amazing opportunities that they have in their resources section, in their About Us section, on the blog. Let's talk about the blog really quick. I know you're blasting out 5 great tips every single month, and you want to just kind of share what your blog is about and how folks can engage there?
Well, our blog is all about sharing information. As you know, Terry, blogging is one way to get your message out, to get your business known. Since we're all about teaching, that is one way that we can teach. And we do invite guest bloggers. Okay. We will, kind of judge whether the content is appropriate for our group, but we do invite anybody that's interested in being a guest blogger to look at our website, see what kinds of things we have on and what our conditions are for being a guest blogger. Sure. We have learned that if we can make it the top 5 things you need to know about this, that, or the other, that it's more readable, more quick for people to learn. So our job is to research, to look at what's out there, what's new, what's interesting, what's practical, what's exciting, and then write about it or bring the direct content right to you, through a link. So that's the service that we provide, is to do the research of what's out there, and then you can just click and read, and you got it.
It's very great, some great stuff. And of course, you have your donate button on your website as well.
Yeah, our organization isn't one that can make anybody cry. We can't touch your heart by our work like Metropolitan Ministries can. Right. But so a lot of people do not click on our Donate Now button.
You need to change that.
But we want your listeners to understand that our work is crucial to the viability of the nonprofit sector, who then serves the community. But a great way for businesses who who is listening today to help the nonprofit sector and help themselves is through our Key Partner program. That is it's kind of a cause-related marketing opportunity where through a partnership with a business, we promote your business, you help us through making a defined donation to our work. And there's a lot written on our website about the Key Partner program, but it is a way to get in front of the nonprofit sector, who are great buyers of products and services that your listeners might have to offer.
Okay. Great. Is there anything that we haven't talked about on our program today that you want to share with our audience?
I think we've covered the biggest messages. I would just leave the day with a thank you to you for the opportunity, because the nonprofit sector is often not well understood. As you said, you didn't know about it until your children had to volunteer. We are part of the everyday life of the community, and we would like listeners and everybody to view us as businesses instead of as do-gooders, because we are doing great work, but we're doing it at a very high level, and we're doing it as a business with return on investment being a better community and more self-sufficient people and more well-educated people. So we're all about investing in the community through our good works. And the more that people can support and understand the nonprofit sector, the better off we will all be.
Yeah, I really get that. Thank you for sharing that with us today, Grace. And I do want to thank you so much for sharing the Nonprofit Leadership Center with us today. Again, a great organization, great people to help you help your nonprofit or your profit business do better with all of the amazing resources and trainings that they do provide. Again, I invite you to go out to the website and see what they're all about by visiting www.nonprofitleadershipcenter.com. Again, they're located at 1401 Northwest Shore Boulevard in Tampa. 33607 is their zip code. And if you have any questions, like I said, all the ladies currently that are over there are happy to answer any question that you might have or enroll you in some of the courses that are coming up. And you can reach them at 813-287-8779. And, there's just such a wide variety of offerings on your website. So I do encourage everybody to check it out. And I do thank you again for being on our program today.
It's my pleasure, and I thank you.
Oh, great. It was awesome. I learned so much that I didn't know. So that's awesome. And you've been listening to Go Mind Your Business here on All Your Business Radio, part of the Talk WAD Network, brought to you today by Extreme Marketing Concepts. We will see you next time. But until then, I ask you to go mind your business. Have a great day.
Thank you for listening to Go Mind Your Business with Terry Bork, presented by Extreme Marketing Concepts. If you want to drive more traffic, dominate the market, and crush your competition, find out how by visiting our website, www.extrememarketingconcepts.com. And join Terry next time for another episode of Go Mind Your Business.